Welcome to the Blind Justice Podcast, where you discover the insider secrets of injury and accident cases, and all of your law questions get answered. Now, here's your host, Chicago injury lawyer, Scott DeSalvo.
That's right, everybody. It's me, Scott DeSalvo, injury lawyer. I've always wanted to change my name to something like Jack Storm. Have you been injured? Call Jack Storm.
A lightning bolt.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a commercial that writes itself.
Half your face is like in the light and in the darkness.
Yeah,
like, Jack Storm.
I could like float in on a cloud.
Yeah.
The horrible video effects are friggin' endless.
We need to make that right now. I would watch that.
I would love to do it. I have all these, I have this YouTube channel where I do a bunch of videos, and obviously listeners of the podcast know about the YouTube channel probably. But if you don't, just search my name, and there's I think at this point I have 100 informational videos on injury law. But I always, I love the idea of doing funny videos, right? Like every Halloween, I want to do a funny Halloween video, or the holidays, or, get the staff involved. But the Jack Storm thing would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
First, I have to search to make sure there's nobody actually named Jack Storm.
And also, they're not an injury lawyer as well. That'd be...
No, right. I would be doing free advertising for a competitor. It would be weird, right?
That would be very weird.
You know what would be awesome? Maybe I will do this. Maybe I will set up a satire injury law website.
You should. That is a great idea.
Yes. Jack Storm, injury lawyer.
Wait, who's Jack Storm? But your real name is Scott DeSalvo. But that's Jack Storm is your cover-up?
Yeah, I'll get a 70s wig and a 70s mustache with tan polyester suit.
Oh, God.
And it'll literally be I'll shoot a series of TV commercials where it's Jack Storm. If the insurance doesn't pay, we'll kill him.
Jack Storm! Oh, God, they're going to kill him? That's
literally.
Right.
Murder.
If you're unsatisfied, money back within 90 days.
Right. I mean, just take it to an entire level.
Can you imagine putting that on a billboard? I feel like people would be like, yes, finally, it's the injury lawyer we've always wanted.
Finally, a lawyer who will murder on my behalf.
And yeah, I would call you. That's great.
God help us. So what we're doing today is we're continuing on answering questions that folks have sent in. If you have a question you want answered, you can call us at the office, 312-895-0545, extension 5, and tell Jessica, the secretary, that you have a question that you want answered on the podcast.
For Jack Storm.
Or, regular old Scott DeSalvo. Or you can email the question to service@desalvolaw.com. So, Amelia, would you like to read our potential client's question?
I would love to.
Shoot.
I was looking to hire a Chicago workers' compensation lawyer. I got hurt at work, and at first, I didn't want to report it. My company fires people who get hurt at work, or they treat you bad. Wow, this is terrible. What company do they work at? Oh, my God.
You never know. I mean, some are really horrible.
Wow. Okay. So I got hurt on Thursday, and then I reported it the following Monday because I had to go to a doctor over the weekend, and he says I need an MRI for my back and shoulder. I thought the pain would go away by itself. I called 3 different Chicago worker compensation lawyers for a free consultation. One of them couldn't tell me a thing. The other 2 seemed like they wanted to get off the phone with me immediately. This makes me feel like I do not have a case. Do you think my workers' comp case is messed up, or do you think it is worth it? Why would those Chicago worker comp lawyers act like that on the phone?
Okay, well,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do and one thing I train everybody at my office to do is have a good bedside manner. Be nice to people who are calling. Because believe it or not, a lot of people are afraid to call a lawyer because they think they're going to get exactly this sort of reception. The lawyer's too busy for you, doesn't want to talk to you, all that stuff. So I try to be super nice to people. But one thing that jumps out at me here is I wonder who this gentleman called. Did he actually call lawyers who really know workers' comp, or did he call the neighborhood real estate lawyer, or the neighborhood traffic court lawyer, or just the immigration lawyer who's got an office in the neighborhood? what I see a lot on attorney websites is, and the reason I bring it up is because you have to be careful about it. One great way to tell whether you're talking about an attorney who is sort of a generalist, jack of all trades, master of none, unfortunately, or maybe
master.
Yeah, I mean, maybe master of one, but if it's not the one you need, you can have some problems.
Sure.
Is actually an easy way to do it, and you get a pretty good idea, is go to somebody's website, right? So if the attorney you're going to talk to has a website and it says, I'm an injury lawyer, that's what we do.
Right.
Look, that's not a guarantee that they're going to be amazing, but at least they're sort of focusing their law practice on injury law.
Right.
But if you go to their website and it says DUI, real estate, traffic tickets, immigration, workers' comp.
You should be worried.
Yeah, basically it's a person who's fishing for anything that might generate a fee for them.
Huh.
And it used to be years and years ago that lawyers would be able to have more of a general practice, but each area of law has gotten more and more esoteric and complex. You're better off with somebody. So, I mean, if you're looking for a Chicago workers' compensation lawyer, you are better off with somebody who you have some idea specializes in that area.
Like
right?
a doctor. Like, do you want to go to like a Walgreens Minute Clinic when you have a heart problem, or do you want to go to a
cardiologist?
Yeah, right.
That
makes more sense.
It's really true. Illinois doesn't recognize specialists, right? So ethically, any lawyer can take any case as long as they feel that they can do a competent job.
Huh.
But experience teaches that often, no matter what legal problem you have, you probably want somebody who's a bit of a specialist, right?
Sure, of course.
Although it's funny because lawyers are not allowed to advertise themselves as specialists. Like there's literally ethics opinions that say you can't call yourself the injury specialist.
Why not?
It's a good question. I don't really remember the basis for it, but because there's no sub-qualification under a law degree for injury law,
sure,
calling yourself a specialist, whereas in medicine there's like board certification for orthopedic surgery, board certification for cardiology. So, yeah, I mean, so that's the second thing. I guess the first thing is make sure you're really talking to somebody who you have a reasonable belief that they know workers' comp.
Right.
The second thing that jumped out at me with this question is this idea that it is not always fun being a lawyer, right?
What?
In fact, it's very expensive to run a law office, and the insurance and paying your employees and all this stuff. It's quite expensive and it's stressful. And the typical lawyer has to fight the insurance companies. Sometimes the judges they feel are not being fair. The clients are very agitated and upset because they may not have money coming in.
Right.
All of this is understandable, but it can, you have to balance your professional responsibilities and keeping current on your skills with earning a living, right? So that you can pay your staff and hopefully put away for retirement. So it is. There have been times in my life where somebody gets me on the phone and I've got an appointment in 5 minutes and we're like 8 minutes into their story and we still haven't really gotten to the point where I can give them an answer.
Right.
What I do in those circumstances is I try and put myself in the client's shoes and say, okay, clearly they're upset about this. So what I'll tell them is, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have something else going on right now. Can I call you back? Right?
Right.
It's pretty easy to do. I think a lot of times lawyers are so stressed out or they're so harried that they forget some of the common courtesy that people should extend to each other, right?
Of course, right.
Most people, if you tell them, I have had people who I was trying to get off the phone with, like, ignore me and keep talking or, like, get mad at me. Like, well, I need an answer. I'm like, I'm sorry you need an answer. I have to go to court.
Get some answers for somebody else.
Yeah,
so
So some, I mean, there's a lot of great lawyers out there. Even great lawyers sometimes get stressed out. So I'm wondering, maybe the people this person talked to were stressed out or they had a lot on their plate. The lawyer could have handled it better. And the other thing I was thinking about is, like, maybe this gentleman told the lawyer some information about the case, and the lawyer then immediately decided that it was a small case or a hard case.
Sure.
And there are lawyers out there who are looking for the slow pitch only.
Sure.
Meaning like the super easy case that's going to be profitable with a minimal amount of work.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I would love to have a law firm full of those.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm not exactly living up to my ethical obligation to the community by only taking easy cases and telling the people who need the help the most that I can't help them, right?
Right.
So I try and take cases where they're, even if there's a problem, most of the time you can fix it or improve it and get money on the case, right? So maybe the lawyers weren't interested because it sounded like an involved case or it wasn't going to be an easy one. So, I would say my last thought on this one is that obviously there is a real challenge to evaluating cases or answering questions in this format, right? And so what I say here is general, like it's informational, but since injury lawyers, including Chicago workers' compensation lawyers, offer free consultations, anybody listening to this podcast for information should take the information because it's good information, but get a free consultation from somebody. And if it's not me, it can easily be someone else. You can't throw a rock in the internet. A virtual rock. I'm thinking Matrix now.
Maybe, is that available on the dark web?
It might be. Yes.
Throw a Bitcoin into it.
No, yeah, so the idea is like there's a million injury lawyers out there.
Sure.
You can get a free consultation if the sound of my voice annoys you. But, of course, my preference would be that you call
No, I go
me.
to sleep to it every night. What are you talking about?
Hey, wait a minute. Embarrassing admission. Jack Storm.
Jack Storm.
So, yeah, there's a 45-day rule, meaning you have to let them know that you got hurt at work within 45 days, right? So the idea that he got hurt on Thursday and reported it on Monday, insurance companies and employers make a big deal about that, but there's a 45-day rule. If you report the work injury to your employer within 45 days,
that's plenty of time.
You've complied with the rule, right? So 3 days or so is, or what is it, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so a few days, several days.
See, and I feel like they probably don't advertise the 45 days so that they put pressure on their employees to be like, oh, you didn't tell us right away?
Well,
like,
it's right.
Oh. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, because I got injured on the job and I never reported it because I thought, well, it's been a week. Like, I didn't do anything about it. So, I don't feel like most people know the 45-day
Yeah,
rule.
that's them trying to develop a defense, right? So it's not unimportant because the perfect case is you get hurt, your employer and your boss see it, you immediately report it, right?
Sure.
That's ironclad.
Right.
If there's a gap, it creates an inference or something for them to argue that maybe you got hurt at home and you're just claiming it as a work injury, right? But that's the difference between the burden of proof and the burden of persuasion. We have the burden of proof at a hearing in workers' comp, and the fact that you've complied with the 45-day rule means your case doesn't get thrown out of court.
Right.
But we still have to persuade the judge with a reason why you didn't report it right away.
Of course.
And I'm surprised more lawyers don't do that, frankly. In my opinion, it is very easy. Workers' comp tends to be a volume practice. So when you're just doing workers' comp, like my office does workers' comp and personal injury, but a lot of the guys I know who just do workers' comp, they want a high volume of cases. So their tolerance for a case with wrinkles like this is lower because they're handling so many cases.
Yeah,
right?
not their first rodeo.
So it's not an easy job, but compared to the hassle and the stress that a injured person is dealing with, being an injury lawyer is a walk in the park, right?
Sure.
And I wish more lawyers would remember that no matter how hard they think their life is, imagine what your life would be like with all the stresses you have, and then add what might be a permanent injury to it.
Right.
And the inability to earn a living.
Sure. And I think that's important for our listeners and any person out there who's whoever finds himself in a situation, God forbid, that there are folks out there, you and hopefully other lawyers included, that are putting themselves in their shoes, because that's important. Because if I were injured, who am I thinking about? I'm thinking about me, and I want to get better. I want to get compensated as quickly as possible if that's a possibility, and I want someone who can sympathize with that and not treat me like just another name on a list that you're blowing through.
Yeah, of course. How about be cool?
Right? Just
100%,
be cool, man.
100%.
Be cooler if you did.
All right, well, let's wrap up the podcast. Amelia, thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Folks, thanks for listening, and we're signing off. Thanks for listening. I truly hope that the information in the podcast helps you no matter the situation you find yourself in. But you might need more answers or some more direct help. So there are 3 ways for you easily to find out more and to get help. If you call my toll-free 24-hour helpline, 888-HURT-318, you'll have a couple of options. 888-HURT-318 is my toll-free 24-hour telephone line. You can call that number and speak with my team night or day. First, you can call 888-HURT-318, and you can speak to me for a free consultation about your case or situation. That's always free and no obligation. Second, you can tell the operator that you'd like a free copy of my injury DVD and book. I created the DVD and book, and I give it away for free to injured people who need answers, but who might not be ready to talk to a lawyer yet. Same deal, 100% free, 100% no obligation. Third and finally, you can check out my YouTube channel for informative videos about the injury case and claims process, or check out my other podcasts for more information and interesting interviews with people who know different things about various aspects of the law. I've put all of this together to help you and to answer your questions. Now, you can also help me, and I hope that you will. If you enjoyed the podcast and if it helped you at all, please subscribe, and if you can, take a minute and please post a positive review of the show. If you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you know anyone who might enjoy the podcast, please spread the word and share it on Facebook. It's my mission to spread good information to as many people as possible, and your liking and reviewing and subscribing to the podcast helps me get the word out. Thanks again. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It doesn't substitute for consulting with a lawyer. If you have a case, speak with a lawyer right away.